Good evening, I'm Adventure Argonaut. This is the Golden News. The news from the past week. News and events and stuff. First, making sure that the streams are working. Yes. Wait, which one? This one. Yes, Party is working as well. And how about okay, Rumble is working, Kick Twitch, everything is functional. I am very pleased. Just put this chat into position. This one, move this bit here. All right, now I see my chats and everything else. Okay, so let's go to the first story, which not that, this one, that one. Alright, so of course it's the fact that the Epstein list doesn't exist all along. Oh, well, I thought it did, we all thought it did, but I guess it doesn't, so well, let's just forget all about it and go home, right? Let's see, so Department of Justice and FBI have concluded that Jeffrey Epstein had no client list and committed suicide per Axios. So yeah, move along, nothing to see here. So the DOJ and FBI joint Epstein memo. There was no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. Yeah, okay. Okay, I do believe that right now there might not be evidence because maybe the evidence has been all, burnt up or swallowed by the earth or something like that. So the systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. After a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10th, 2019. This conclusion is consistent with previous findings, blah blah blah. Yeah. So yeah. What did they say? Like the Cash Patel, didn't he say like he's gonna release the Epstein list the first day when he gets into office, and as the FBI chief? But well, if there's no list, I guess. But hey, he's still a liar. Like if he was a man of his word, he would fabricate the list at least. Like clearly, clearly no censorship, no cover up is going on here. The list never existed. Clearly. It's not like the people Trump hired to do these jobs. They're not crooks or anything. No. So yeah, White House confirms they are done with the Epstein case. Masks are off. So she's the publicist or something from the White House.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable, and I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General...
So she's just, avoiding the question, talking about, yeah, we arrest bad guys. Okay, yeah, sure, I believe they arrest lower level bad guys, but not the, higher level, like political level or in this, heads of business and industries and stuff, like, the really movers and shakers of society. They can do whatever Epstein activities they want, and the establishment covers up for them. Doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican or whatever, same. And here, so Jeffrey Epstein victim have spent last 70 years in prison for what she. Okay, well, let's just listen to what she says.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10. That is how long the sex trafficking ring has been going on. I have spent the last 17 years in my own.
Donald Trump Jr. Says, show us all the Epstein client list now. Why would anyone protect those comebacks? Ask yourself this question daily and answer becomes very apparent. So yeah, I said he should ask your dad. Like, it's very difficult at this point to evade the idea that Trump is complicit in this. Like, he hired Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Dan Bongino. These people have that, supposedly they were supposed to release all and do that, and do, I don't know, follow the law, do arrests, but nope, they're not. They're just covering everything up. So Trump hired them for this job, and so far I haven't seen any evidence of Trump saying that he's displeased with their performance and that that they have betrayed him or anything. Nope. He's just pretending like it's not an issue. So yeah, here is for February this year, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said on Friday that she is currently reviewing the list, talking about the Epstein list. And then July, so just a couple of days ago, a Department of Justice memo says there is no evidence Epstein kept a client list or blackmailed prominent individuals. Yeah. So what list was she reviewing? And here is, so Department of Justice releases 10 hours long surveillance footage they say proves no one entered Jeffrey Epstein's cells prior to his death. So this is like, doesn't prove anything. Like, maybe there's another exit or entrance there, or how do we know this? Either of these is his cell. And actually here it says this video doesn't show Jeffrey Epstein's cell. Only a tiny sliver of staircase leading to Epstein's wing can be seen. So is it like this? Is this the actual place then? And of course, like, I do think, was it Dan Bongino saying he's actually seen the video of Epstein dying, even though originally 5-6 years ago when he supposedly died, we were told that the cameras weren't working in his cell. So yeah, is that's just making shit up and coming up with new lies. Okay, this is from like last year. Trump says he will release the Epstein client list if elected. Democrat elites are shaking right now. Yeah, and then Elon Musk replied a couple of days ago, and any time now. Yeah. Elon Musk is right about Trump. There's no other conclusion to be drawn from this. Like, unless Trump tomorrow says something like, no, I'm gonna release the list and all of these FBI people and attorneys and stuff who've been covering up for the crimes, they're gonna get executed or something. Unless he does something like that tomorrow, there's no other conclusion to be drawn about Trump's complicity in all of this. And Elon Musk can be criticized for many things, but he was right about saying that Trump is on the list, or at least he certainly behaves like he is. And Ben Shapiro fully accepts the DOJ and FBI's official account of Epstein's death and urges his audience to trust it as well. Okay, I haven't actually watched this.
We now have the answers. And the problem is this: people who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion that if you speculate without evidence that that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset
Blah
today because
blah
it turns
blah.
out
Get
that the
on with
DOJ and
it.
the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? Right, that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered, he did not keep a client list, and he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I, they are saying this. If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying, because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me.
Okay, the evidence they're lying is that they were saying different things just a few months ago. Like, Pam Bondi had the list on her desk and she saw these videos of, Epstein doing all sorts of naughty stuff to kids and stuff. Like, is it just, 1,000 hours of just Epstein doing stuff? Well, okay, I can believe that existed, but no other. Like, I'm pretty sure there were videos of most of the guests on the island doing all sorts of nasty business. Like, whether those videos exist anymore, that's a good question, because they might have been, eradicated, just like the original moon landing tapes, but that's another issue. So yeah, March, Bondi says the FBI has tens of thousands of Epstein videos. April, Patel says they vanished. July, DOJ says no client list, no name, suicide, case closed. Oh yeah, then also they're claiming that Epstein committed suicide. So no, yeah. Damn it, I should have looked for the, like, some senator or something, soon after Epstein's supposed suicide. He made some, cryptic Twitter message saying that, suggesting that Epstein is in Area 51. He actually did that. I recall seeing it, but I should look for it. I'm not gonna do it one on stream, but that's something I really should. Like, I don't know whether it has any factuality behind this claim, but these people are crooks, and who hired them? Donald Trump. So, he hasn't disavowed, he hasn't said that they have betrayed him, nothing like that. So, yeah. And what's this? So, yeah. So, no evidence of Epstein had a client list or blackmailed power people. Alleges evidence he committed suicide, blah, blah, blah. So, didn't Pam Bondi on camera a couple of months ago say there's thousands of videos of elites engaging in sexual acts with minors? So yeah, I think she said that it's Epstein, like, or at least doing it. But anyway, but whatever, whether it's just Epstein, like, what happened to these videos, or did Pam Bondi make it up? Like, just this discrepancy either means that, either these videos never existed, um or they've been suppressed. Hey, Angel Double Hurts is saying he wants to interrupt me. How rude! How rude! But hello, Agent Double Hurts. So yeah, let's see. Why did Epstein kill himself? If he was innocent man with $1 billion, zero clients, and no evidence against him? Exactly. He was the most innocent man of all history. Epstein never did anything criminal or anything, except, he was in jail previously, right, for similar crimes, and got a slap on the wrist. But I guess he reformed after that, and he was a true saint, and he committed suicide. Like, somebody said that because he was such a moral person, he couldn't live with the allegations of him being a foul criminal, so that's why he did it. I know there's this first Diddy is found not guilty on all major sex trafficking charges, and now the DOJ FBI state there is no Epstein client list. Decades of child abuse by elite predators being covered up and buried in real time. And yes, this is a Trump administration. This isn't Biden. This isn't the Democrats. So yeah, here is the Didi was found not guilty on all these serious charges. He may walk. So yeah, not guilty on racketeering conspiracy. Not guilty sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Guilty transportation to engage in prostitution. So does it mean like transporting prostitutes to his house or something to have naughty business with them or what? And not guilty sex trafficking by force, fraud, coercion. Okay, and guilty transportation to engage in prostitution. Wait, it's the same. I don't know how it works, but yeah. So whether he goes to jail is gonna be a slap on the wrist. And okay, to be fair, I don't know so much about like allegations against Diddy and stuff. That how much of this is just the trial, that it was farce, or is it actually that maybe he's not as criminal, maybe he's just a scumbag, maybe he's not really a criminal. I'm leaning towards, especially um, seeing the kind of administration the United States currently has, that he probably is a foul criminal, but like maybe not. But Epstein certainly is or was. Whether he's alive or dead, I don't know. But why would you trust them to tell you he's dead? It's the same. It's same. It was the Trump administration when he died, quote unquote. And now they're covering up his crimes. And okay, this disgraceful attempt to deceive Americans in order to protect Jeffrey Epstein, his ties to Israeli and US intelligence agencies, and his high profile sex trafficking blackmailing is enough to entirely destroy the Trump administration's credibility. Yeah, it is. Like, a bunch of these people say like, oh well, focus on something else. But no, this is basically the biggest thing in current year, I would say, like, if like the biggest political affair, because do you want your government, United States, but I'm pretty sure this applies to most European countries too, so do you want your government to be ruled by minor diddling sex criminals who care more about Israel and the one who holds the reins, or actually people who might actually try to do something good and moral and at least decent or practical, reasonable? Because you won't get reasonable politicians making good decisions that benefit the people if you have fucking pedophiles running the country who have these fucking covens of pedo witches or whatever it is they do. You just this issue has to be fixed. Otherwise, there is no point to any politics. Like, it doesn't matter you arguing over red versus blue or whatever, because at the end, they all visited the same island. Okay, how does anyone defend this? Jake Shields asks. Trump is in the files. He tried to fake releasing them, but instead he handed out empty binders. Now he's actively covering for Epstein. He should be impeached unless he releases the files. Every American, regardless of politics, should agree. Yeah, well, I'm not American, but I still agree. Yeah, it's like you can't get around. It's like either you're fucking dumb, or you're basically covering up for them if you don't like realize this is a thing, like this Epstein thing. And I'm pretty sure Epstein wasn't the only one who doing this blackmailing stuff, but he at least has become the most prominent figure in all this. But anyway, Cenk Uyghur once again being seeing to be a better person than Donald Trump or anybody in the Trump administration. Anyway, so there are thousands of Epstein victims, but not a single client who victimized them. Serious question, do they expect even one person to believe that? They couldn't find or create a list of a single person who slept with those underage girls, even though it's all on tape. Yeah. Like whether Epstein himself had like a list saying, okay, these are my customers and these are the crimes they committed. I don't know whether he had like that. Maybe he has a more sophisticated and more cryptic system, but I'm pretty sure he had some sort of there was some sort of trail to some of his clients and to their crimes, surely. But the FBI seems to imply it didn't happen, even though I don't think they explicitly said. They just said no list. So yeah, they didn't mention whether the list existed and now it's destroyed or not. Okay, here is comments by Fuentes. So yeah, this is about the big bullshit bill, whatever that passed. So if Thomas Massey opposes foreign influence, then he should drop his opposition to the BBB. It's more important to build a border wall and remove millions of illegal foreigners than to cut the deficit. Damn, difficult word. Sovereignty comes first. So yeah, they and he had some debate with Dinesh D'Souza and whatever. Didn't watch it, so some comments on it though. But anyways, and okay. After the BBB passed, Trump announced he is working on an amnesty for trillions of illegal immigrant workers. He says radical right won't be happy, but they'll understand. Spitting in the face of the plan trusters. So yeah, he trusted the plan. So he's spitting on his face. So yeah, it is like because some people I do still think Fuentes is one of the more reasonable voices on current like contemporary American politics, but it's not like um, he can be a bit wormy and snaky at times, and and he does make mistakes. But here he just seems stupid. Like if he really thinks like, oh, we should trust the BBB and Trump because he's been very critical of Trump recently, but no, we should trust his BBB stuff. But here, yeah, it's pointless to build the border wall if he's um, sending bunch of illegal immigrants to America, right? Anyways, let's see. Ah, yeah, this is the video from supposedly Epstein's cell, and even here is there seems to be a minute missing. Why is there 1 minute missing from the Epstein security camera footage? So 11:58 to 11:59. So yeah, here is. I assume like this isn't just edited that from the video, but okay, here it says. So this is the 9th of August, I guess. So yeah, this is 11:58 down here, and then this is then 10th of August, so just after midnight. So yeah, there is 1 minute missing from this. Like maybe there isn't even any like maybe that this is just how the camera works and it's not actually missing a minute or something, or it's just maybe it doesn't maybe it doesn't matter because I don't know if this video footage would prove anything anyways. And like, okay, well, why was this footage, like, even if it somehow proves that Epstein killed himself, why was it released now and not 5 years ago when Trump was still president? This is all just for like mouth breathers, like, oh, this means trust the administration, trust the plan. I don't know. So yeah, and the people are saying that stuff like this. Is everyone ready to admit that Pam Bondi was a mistake? No, she wasn't a mistake. She's. I think she's doing a really good job of covering up, like trying to cover Trump's ass on this. Like it's not. I don't think she's being incompetent. Like okay, her lies might be better to wouldn't be so easy to see through them, but still these people that Trump hired, they're clearly there just to um, you know, cover things up. They are not there to promote law and justice and law and order, or to punish the wicked or nothing, anything like that. That's not their job. And yeah, here's the whatever her name was, the uh, publicist to Trump's, I don't know, press secretary, is that the title? Anyway, so people are pointing out that usually she always had the cross, but when she's lying about this Epstein stuff, she took it off because I guess she cannot bear with the guilt. But if that's what that's the reason she took it off, at least that's respectable. Like she understands what she's doing is wrong and it's evil, and she feels bad. So that's at least a step in the right direction. But still, she's lying about it. And here's a funny. And then we said he had no client list at all, and they're reptilians, and laughing. And I'm not saying they're literally reptilians. They're the people running this blackmail operation, but like for all extents and purposes, maybe you should think of them like for practical reasons. They're not truly human, and that's to so what lengths they will be willing to go through to keep their position and keep you puny humies in your cage. So yeah, they won't leave their position simply by making a heartfelt argument or voting strongly enough. You have to do a bit more than that to get them out of their blackmail positions. Another meme, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list. So yeah, this is very fucking Orwellian. War is peace, freedom, slavery, and all that. We've always been at war with East Asia. This is like yeah, like every week for the past month or two, Trump is just making Joe Biden look good. That's really sad. And here is Chernovich from February 22. Bill Gates is sweating bullets. And then, yeah. Is Bill Gates sweating bullets right now? From, a couple of days ago. I don't think he is. Not anymore. Yeah, because Pam Bondi says Epstein client list is on her desk right now. Okay, yeah, even it says here the client list, according to Post Millennial. So either it was on her desk and she burned it, or she lied, or what? What's going on here? You know, Maybe if America has any justice system, like actual justice system, shouldn't they, or the Congress force her to state stated under oath, like what was this client list stuff all about? Like or did somebody else tell her not to release the list, or what the fuck is going on? That would be nice. And yeah, and then here, President Trump on Ukraine, not related to Epstein, well, maybe related to Epstein list. So Trump saying that we are going to send some more weapons to Ukraine. So yeah, I thought he was not for these wars and he wanted to end the war, but now he's arming Ukraine just like Joe Biden. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I think Biden was more funny. Trump is likable as a person, but like when is the things he seems to be doing is promoting all sorts of nasty levels of criminality, and I don't mean like he's being a felon and whatever they try to do to him in New York. Like no, like actual serious crimes and stuff. That's not like covering up stuff like that. That's not so funny anymore. But hey, but however, the good thing about all of this is that it should convince everybody who's actually paying attention that that the system won't save you, and the people part of the system, they won't save you, and you should realize, and that goes people actually physically working for the system, but also like there are still many people mentally who cannot think outside of the political system, and they still sort of like, they're in the matrix, and if you try to unplug them from the matrix, they will like, turn on you. But anybody, like, I think it's becoming more and still more easy to see that, it doesn't matter whether it's red or blue. And I don't mean just in American context, but generally, the left wing and the right wing in Europe or wherever, it's more or less the same. They're being blackmailed by the same Mossad agents or whoever. That's how it works. All right, let's go, and let's go to the next story. Hey, took only 30 minutes. Okay, so the America Party. So Elon Musk is starting the America Party, which is like in theory, I think it sounds like a decent idea. However, I don't know if it's gonna be like that in practice. Elon Musk officially launches the American Party. Today, the American Party is formed to give you back your freedom. Like, if it was a party actually not controlled by APAC and all these other organizations that control Democrats and Republicans, that would be good. But it's hard to believe that it would be much different if it actually, takes off. And just to point out that, last December, Elon Musk was ready to go to war over the H-1B visas to sending millions of Indians to America. So yeah, I will go to war over infinite Indian immigration. So this is what his America Party is all about. It's about, Indians, not American Indians like Native Americans. No, it's Indian Indians. Of course, not simply them, but still it, does sort of smell that way. So because like the treasurer and custodian is an Indian. So yeah, they filed for the party. So the America Party, blah blah blah, Rocket Road, Hawthorne. So custodian is Vaidnehab Taneja and the treasurer Vaibhav Taneja. Yeah, so the same guy. Yeah, so they signed Vaibhav Taneja. Like, hey, maybe this is a great guy and would do a really good job and be fair and all that stuff. Okay, it says this filing is fake, as confirmed by Elon Musk. Okay, so that was fake news. I don't think it had the note back then when I first saw this. Okay, that makes it a bit better still, if it's not just, but it's still very like a relevant question, like who will control the party, because naturally both the left and the right, the conventional left and the right, are gonna try to control it, and all the same elements, like, if Elon Musk can actually keep it independent, then that might be good. But of course, like, personally for me, I don't like his rhetoric, because he's saying like, "Oh, we should listen to the 80% in the middle. We are the centrist party," basically saying. It's like, okay, I was like, no, I'm not a fan of centrism. Like, I'm not American, I'm not Indian, so wouldn't be voting for it. But in that sense, like, I like the idea of challenging the old system, but I doubt this is gonna be the best way to do it, or very effective way. And well, this is still talking about Indians. Is about so Microsoft has already filed 14,000 foreign labor requests this year, while announcing 9,000 layoffs, almost all brokered by Indian firms. And it will invest $3 billion in its Indian operations. Here is the CEO, Satya Nadella, so Indian. So yeah, because it is like the tech industry in America seems to be taken being is in the process of being taken over by Indians, or maybe it has already mostly been taken over. And I don't see any opposition from Elon Musk, who is also in the tech industry, like to this trend. So it doesn't look that good. But still, it would be interesting if that party actually becomes a thing and doesn't just, die in a couple of months. Sort of like Sargon of Akkad's liberalists party or whatever he had, if you happen to remember whenever it was. Almost 10 years ago? I don't know, whenever. Anyways, and then let's go to England and more tyranny in the UK, because that's what they always get. So what's happening in Britain? A delivery driver that sexually assaulted a pregnant woman so that she suffered a miscarriage only got 12 months prison, but a mother that wrote an offensive social media post that she quickly deleted was sentenced to 31 months prison. Unreal. So yeah, somebody asks, Grok, is this accurate? Yes, both cases are real. Delivery driver Muhammad Faijan Khan got 12 months for sexually assaulting a pregnant woman who believes it caused her miscarriage. Lucy Connolly received 31 months for a deleted tweet stirring racial hatred after Southport highlights UK sentencing disparities. Yeah, I don't even care like how much hatred she stirred. I don't think stirring hatred should really be a crime. Like evoking emotions should not really be a crime. Like perhaps under certain very specific situations, like maybe if you're in a bus and the bus is driving around a mountain or a narrow path, and then you're, I don't know, bothering the bus driver by stirring hateful emotions in him. Sure, that might endanger lives and stuff, but generally speaking, saying hateful quote unquote things on the internet, I don't think that should be a crime. And here's another story responding to this that you can post, Peter Sweden. So, a 83-year-old woman arrested. One of these people has actually cut heads off with a knife. The other is a 83-year-old pacifist priest who opposes genocide. Guess which one is accused of terrorism by the British state? So, priest 83 arrested at Palestine Action protest. The law does not have an age limit, the head of Metropolitan Police said after an 83-year-old retired priest was arrested for supporting a banned protest group. Reverend Sue Parti from Henbury in Bristol was arrested on the same day the group was outlawed. She was attending a demonstration in Parliament Square, London on Saturday. The group became a proscribed organization under the Terrorism Act 2000 on Saturday, making membership or expressing support for them punishable by up to 14 years in prison. I just wonder, like, okay, if you express support for these organizations, like how many, like, do they have Al Qaeda or ISIS or whatever? How many people in Britain have gone to jail for that, for expressing support for it? So yeah, 29 people arrested. Yeah, I don't know. This is just crazy. So, and I presume, like I believe, rather than believing the authorities or BBC or whatever, I believe that So she was opposing genocide. Presumably, it was pro-Palestine stuff, opposing yeah, Israel's actions. So who controls Britain? I wonder who. Could they be blackmailed or something, that Keir Starmers and all these people? No, no, that's impossible. But hey, there's something good that Britain did, because it was 4th of July, the US Independence Day a few days ago, and the British embassy in Washington posted a meme that I found was good banter. So we love the 4th of July, be honest. Well, I hope the weather's good, be honest. I hope it pours down and the BBQs go out. Thank you. I think this is good banter. This is very good European banter, and it's also like it's very witty and also like self-deprecating or something, and I like it. I appreciate it. I can't imagine something like this from official government uh, accounts, but there it is. Unless this is a fake account, but no, I'm pretty sure it's the right one. Posting with an extra use since 2009. Is it really, or is it just, I don't know? Sounds a bit memeish now. Whatever, but it has this check mark, so it should mean that it's a real one. Anyways, let's see what else do we have. Aha! Now we go to France. So Macron associated search and death. Okay, the title would be too long, so let's just. I didn't write it in the title card. So, surgeon who announced Brigitte Macron's transgender transformation found dead in Paris. Enquête du jour. It turned out that 58-year-old Francois Fevre fell out of the window of his apartment. His sister Anne Dupont claims that Francois was not suicidal, that his death is likely related to the revealing interview he was about to give soon. Francois Fevre was a colleague of the famous doctor specializing in transgender transformations Patrick Bouy. It was his joint photos with Brigitte Macron that formed the basis of the corresponding conspiracy theory that she used to be a man. So this is a quote from Francois Fevre. I worked for 6 years at an American hospital in Paris. Dr. Bouy was one of my close colleagues. He gave me a lot of information and documents about his patients, including the physical changes that Mrs. Macron underwent during her transgender surgery. So, okay, so this doctor or surgeon who is now dead alleges that there is evidence suggesting that Brigitte Macron actually was born a man, because that's something that has been speculated about for a while now. This is the sister of, yeah. So if all this information here is true, it does suggest like that he was murdered, very much so. Whether or not Brigitte Macron is actually transgender or not, but like they don't seem to like people talking about it. And here Candace Owens, who has been talking about the matter, she claimed that, yeah, she had previously claimed that was it that she got a phone call or something from the White House or U.S. government saying that she shouldn't talk about Brigitte Macron allegedly being a man because the French President Macron doesn't like it, and he's holding back the peace talks in Ukraine. So anyway, here she says some amazing news following my report of Macron delaying Russia peace talks over his wife, quote unquote. Macron put his big boy pants and called Vladimir Putin. It was the first call since 2022. Macron says the call was meaningful. So yeah, who cares if she's a man or a woman? Only the two most powerful men in the world, literally. Yeah. So I still don't know whether Candace Owens is telling the truth. Like she, uh, like sort of hinted that even Trump would prefer if she would stop talking about this or something. But it is very interesting, especially in light of this news, if this is all accurate info. Uh, but see, I think this news, this Macron transgender news, is somewhat, related to the first story about Epstein files disappearing. I think is part of this same clandestine network that we regular people don't really see about. We only see the shadows and hear echoes of it, but we don't really know what's going on. But I guess this there's this loose strings sticking out, and if we manage to pull one of them, the whole thing might unravel. I guess that's what they're afraid of. And okay, arrested. Uh, pilot arrested for trying to fly to Antarctica. So yeah, why can't you go to Antarctica? So a 19-year-old pilot has been detained in Chile after altering his flight plan and making an unauthorized solo flight to Antarctica. Ethan Gore is trying to fly to all seven continents to raise $1 million for cancer research. So yeah, this cat is panicking. Why can't you fly over Antarctica? Isn't there nothing there? Yes, it's like there's plenty of speculation what's over Antarctica, but it is like it's been pointed out before that various countries they don't really agree on anything. They're always at their at each other's necks, fighting over things. But like nope, everybody agrees that yeah, you shouldn't go to Antarctica except some specific scientific trips or something, and also religious leaders go there. I recall some years ago, was it like the one of the Orthodox Church patriarchs went there, and was it Pope Francis went there too, and stuff. Maybe they even met there and stuff. So like, what the fuck is actually going on? Maybe I should read. There's like one 4chan post about what supposedly an Antarctica, and I'm pretty sure it's fiction, but I think it's a very riveting fiction. So if I recall, I should read it at some point on stream. But anyways, like there's of course people saying that Antarctica has, I don't know, UFOs or entrance to the hollow earth, or maybe there's Neuschwabenland, the old Nazi base there. So who knows? Maybe there's still actually Nazis there with superior technology or something, or or certain flat earthers claim that Antarctica doesn't exist and it's just the ice wall surrounding the land. And that's why they don't want you to go, because you find out about the ice wall, and I don't know what it is. Uh, what's the secret of Antarctica? But it's clear there's something there, like something they don't want you to know about. And of course, there's the Admiral Byrd Operation High Jump. Like, was it in the 50s? After World War II, that he was admiral and a Freemason, I believe. On TV, he talked about they found land. Was it like land size of Canada or something, with untapped natural resources and stuff? And I don't know if he was telling the truth. Maybe he was making it all up, or what. But there's something interesting there in Antarctica, and they don't want you to know. All right, what's next? There's some Yale vax info. So yeah, there's some stuff I quickly glanced about it, because the clot shot, it is like, it's good that they're not trying to goad people into you taking them much right now, but we shouldn't forget about what they did. So Yale study quietly confirms COVID vaccine nightmare. They told you the shot would stay in your arm. That was a lie. They said the spike protein would degrade quickly. That was a lie. Yale researchers tracked vax-injured patients over time, and they were shocked to learn that some individuals were still producing spike protein 709 days after vaccination. That's almost 2 years, but that wasn't all they found. The study should alarm every vaccinated person. This wasn't a fringe study, it was led by Yale scientists, including immunologists who originally supported vaccine rollout. Their findings should be front page news, but the media is silent. Thankfully, Midwestern Dark breaks it all down here. I'm not gonna click on that now. Let's just see what it says here. These Yale researchers believe mRNA shots would help fight COVID and even long COVID. They've since changed their stance. Why? Because the data forced them to. Finally, some actual science. So COVID-19 vaccines have prevented millions of COVID-19 deaths, yet a small fraction of the population reports a chronic debilitating condition after COVID-19 vaccination, often referred to as post-vaccination syndrome (PVS) syndrome. To explore potential pathobiological features associated with PVS, we conduct decentralized cross-sectional study involving 42 PVS participants and 22 healthy controls enrolled in Yale Listen study. Blah blah blah. So yeah, PVS participants also had lower anti-spike antibody titers, primarily due to fewer vaccine doses. Serological evidence of recent Epstein-Barr virus reactivation was observed more frequently in the PVS participants. Further, individuals with PVS exhibited elevated levels of circulating spike protein compared to healthy controls. These findings reveal potential immune differences in the individuals with PVS that merit further investigation to better understand this condition and inform future research into diagnostic and therapeutic approaches. If you want to dig deeper into the science, check out the report from Midwestern Dog. It covers the Yale study, critiques vaccine development, production methods, theory, and breaks down immune system basics. So the Yale researchers found clear biological proof that in some people, mRNA spike protein production did not stop following vaccination. Instead, it persisted, triggering autoimmunity, suppressing immune function, and reactivating dormant viruses. Yikes. These people weren't just feeling off, they had objectively measurable signs of illness such as lower CD4 counts, reactivated Epstein Barr and herpes viruses, over 100 autoimmune antibody increases, TNF alpha spikes, and more, whatever that is. So, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I guess it means that, yeah, there's some science is coming to point out stuff that, like, that crazy people like me already knew that maybe you shouldn't have taken the jab. And here, European Commission under Ursula von der Leyen is to face a vote of no confidence in the European Parliament. Not sure if it's happened, but it's just I'm mentioning because it's supposedly partially at least related to this because there was little transparency over this vax stuff back in the day. So I'm certainly not expecting EU to do anything good about it, really. But at least it's um, you know, at least if there's some waves in the water, that's always positive. Because the truly depressing thing is that most people who took the jab, they don't really seem to care. I guess, I didn't do it, but like to a certain degree, I do understand that they don't. They might be a bit worried. Like either they're not worried at all and they're just whatever. There were no problems, or like if they are, they do know that there might be some problems. There's little they can do about it now, so they hope that everything is gonna be for the best. But I do wish that these people would get um that push this untested drug onto millions of people around the world, that they should be held responsible and also to prevent stuff like this happening ever again, because like whatever the ultimate harmfulness or usefulness of these injections was, the fact was they weren't properly tested because it was less than a year. Vaccines are supposed to undergo years of testing, but these weren't certainly tested. But anyways, let's move on to the next story. Israel Delen Daest. So yeah, the good old Israel Delen Daest. Israel has to be destroyed. Let's see some more evidence why. So Ron Paul here says Haaretz report Israeli soldiers shoot unarmed Palestinians lining up for food. Yeah, so that's the stuff that Israel does, and they claim that it's blood libel. Some I've seen some Twitter accounts play, but I'm just gonna believe both Haaretz and Ron Paul here. And EU set to impose sanctions on Israel next week in response to its ongoing genocide in Gaza Strip. Here is somebody asked, Grok, is it true? Not entirely. The EU plans to propose options for measures like targeted sanctions or trade limits next week due to human rights concerns in Gaza, but impositions isn't set and faces divisions. They're not labeled genocide. Israel calls it for. So I guess they're like sort of like trying like yeah, we don't like what you're doing, but not doing anything effective. That's probably what the sniveling EU is doing. But I guess it's better than nothing. Huh? Okay, Trump at least did something good. Described certain bankers as Shylocks.
But if you love them or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people.
Shylock. So yeah, he's a character from Shakespeare's play, I believe, some immoral Jewish merchant or something or banker. But yeah, anyways, and so yeah, Trump is he hosting or just hosted Netanyahu in White House again? And Trump referred to Netanyahu as the greatest man in the world. America is beyond occupied. Yes, so Trump, Netanyahu is the greatest man in the world. State Department spokesman, Israel is the greatest country in the world. Multiple GOP politicians, the IDF is the most moral army in the world. Ted Cruz, I ran for Senate to be Israel's greatest defender. FBI director, we will prioritize Israel. Deputy FBI director, a cause close to my heart, Israel, defend Israel. No, Delenda Israel, that's a typo. Uh, sorry, made me cough. Witchcraft, clearly. Yeah, I think they're just mocking Americans at this point. Sorry, trying to regain my voice. Okay. And Saudi Arabia secretly aided Israel's defense against Iran, despite publicly condemning Israeli strikes. Riyadh provided radar data, shared intelligence, and opened northern airspace for Israeli aircraft, helping intercept Iranian missiles and drones. So yeah, if I was an Arab or a Muslim, I'd be really pissed off at Saudi Arabia if this is true. And yeah, this is just Trump will host Netanyahu for dinner at the White House. Yeah, well, I guess it happened already. But I'd written in my notes a red wedding question mark. I was like, wasn't expecting it to happen, but I was, hopeful. I don't know. Hmm. And here is the Dalai Lama. Mazel Tov and happy birthday, the Dalai Lama, from Rabbi Shmuley. So, this rabbi who has a dildo store or porn store or something with his daughter. So, is this the daughter? So, yeah, well, why is he so influential that he gets to meet all these famous people and these, political people? So, holy shit, China was right about the Dalai Lama too. It looks like it. Well, here at least, like, in defense of Dalai Lama, he seems a bit uncomfortable, like he's being held a hostage. And here, Syrian president slips up, starts speaking perfect Hebrew during meeting with Netanyahu. But there's a question: has anyone seen this video footage of this? And here it says that is Photoshop from this. So apparently this is fake news. And yeah, when you look at it, yeah, this Netanyahu's head here looks fake. But I'm gonna use the argument that it was real in my mind because I can imagine this happening, even though it didn't happen this case, but it was real in my mind. So I'm sure it has happened in on another occasion. That's how it works, right? And yeah, Cyprus also still suffering from Israelis. Cyprus raises alarm over growing Israeli presence on the island. Cyprus's second largest party warns the waves of Israelis are buying property near critical infrastructure and settling in sensitive areas. They fear this could be a blueprint for Israel 2.0. So, do they have a military like Cyprus, or just I don't know, build some big ramps to shove them off in the sea or something? And here, okay, do Jews celebrate 4th of July? Well, it's important to respect the customs and the laws of the country we live in. Very telling answer. So yeah, let's see.
Jews celebrate July 4th.
Jewish people are allowed to celebrate, and we do enjoy the states. We do enjoy the country that we live in. It's actually important.
We do enjoy the country we live in. So yeah, they don't consider themselves Americans. They consider themselves Jewish. That's very interesting. Dual loyalty? No, that's a misnomer. These guys don't have dual loyalty. They have singular loyalty. Grok goes full anti-Semite. So okay, enjoying movies, cinema becomes almost impossible once you know. Says Pon Gorilla, and somebody asks Grok, once I know what. And Grok says, once you know about pervasive ideological biases, propaganda, and subversive tropes in Hollywood like anti-white stereotypes, forced diversity, or historical revisionism, it shatters the immersion. Many spot these in classics too, from trans undertones in old comedies to WW2 narratives, ruins the magic for some. Who are these subverters, Grok? What's their religion? Historically, Hollywood's founders and many current executives are disproportionately Jewish, and studio heads like Iger, Disney, Moonvest, CBS, Pro LA Times Jews, 2% of US population hold 20% of top roles for estimates. Very interesting. Why is Grok so hateful? But wait, Les Moonves is Jewish? I didn't know that. I think he's the one who cancelled Star Trek Enterprise back in the day. Hmm. Okay. And here is claimed that Q was born in Tel Aviv by Mossad. So yeah, I guess this is supposedly results of the 4chan hack that happened a few months ago. Or how long ago was it? It feels like it's been 6 months or something. But yeah, I don't know whether this is true. Certainly not saying that I believe that Q is any patriot in control or anything, but doesn't mean that this claim is true either. But it says here, Fortune hacked Mossad exposed the digital honeypot that created QAnon and poisoned the American right. By Gordon Duff, April 2025. Biggest revelation that Q was born in Tel Aviv, not Langley. The entire mythology of Q, the idea of secret military patriots inside the US government working to expose the deep state and save the children, was in fact a psychological pacification program designed to keep the American right docile, disorganized, and permanently waiting. Trust the plan, stay passive, just post memes. Behind the curtain were Israeli and US operatives writing Q drops, promoting them on 4chan, and then migrating narratives to YouTube, Reddit, Truth Social, and beyond. The goal: derail real resistance movements to replace them with Hopian adult fantasy narratives. They succeeded until now. So buried inside the leak were the smoking guns. Admin moderator emails tied to ed.edu and .gov addresses. Israeli IP ranges responsible for more than 50% of all poll posts, a staggering figure for a country comprising of just 0.12% of the world's population. Geolocation data providing the fortunes for vaunted anonymity was a lie. Users were aggressively browser fingerprinted, log profiled, and in some cases targeted. But okay, does it mean that the Q posts came from Israel? Like I still don't see the proof that it Q came from Mossad. Like it could be, but it still could be. It still could be just some random dude in his basement having a laugh, or fucking space aliens from the future trying something. Or I'm just very skeptical of anybody who claims to know the truth about Q. I think it's mostly just some guy or random guys having a laugh, but that got out of control. But who knows? Okay, so there were some floods in Texas, and a bunch of people were killed. And Carrie here says, "My heart breaks for the families who have tragically lost their little girls. I'm praying for everyone who perished in the Texas flash flood. I can't fathom the grief." And then Cindy Steinberg, is she Chinese or Cambodian? No. Thai? Congolese? No. What ethnicity? What is she? Anyway, she says, "Fuck these white kids. I'm glad there are few less colonizers in the world now, and I don't care who's bootlegging fragile ego that offends. White kids are just future fascists, and we need more floods in these inbred sundown towns." So yeah, citing this, so I remember there actually is no punishment harsh enough for these people. Yeah, it's like just take note what kind of people they are. Like think of the reptilian meme I showed 30 minutes ago. And okay, and Tucker Carlson interviewed the president of Iran, and of course, look, plenty of people are seething that you're not supposed to get both sides of the story. I haven't seen the interview. I'm not sure if it's
We
out
just finished
even
up an
yet,
interview.
or it's just a trailer or something. But it's like shouldn't be good. Like of course you can if the president of Iran says some false things, you can call him out. But isn't the journalist supposed to get all sides of the story? But that's so like 1990s or 70s or whatever or 60s. Now it's just like, you only listen to those you agree with. Okay, look at the amount of quetching in the replies. Laughing my ass off. Tucker has outdone himself with this one. Yeah. And, okay, on 4th of July, Ted Cruz praised Israel. So happy 4th of July. Today is the 47th anniversary of the daring Entebbe raid. I was only 5 at the time, but I remember being inspired by the amazing courage of the IDF team that rescued the hostages and killed the terrorists. So yeah, 4th of July is about celebrating something that Israel did. That don't you know? That's why it's known across the world for something significant. All right, but let's now we can go to gaming news away from Israel del Est. So to gaming and entertainment news. Although, well, the first one isn't technically gaming or entertainment, but didn't know where to put it because this is well NordVPN, very gamer YouTubers and stuff. They do shill for NordVPN. So, anyways, so yeah, so people are saying how bad the floods are, how devastating it is in Texas, and then Destiny here, Steve Bannell, and I do believe he's Jewish. Just by the way, I heard God killed those kids because they were using NordVPN promo code Destiny to get around Texas porn ban. So yeah, and NordVPN is not happy about it. So why did they give him money before? But anyway, hello everyone. This tweet forcefully suggests a sponsorship with us. Ah, okay. So he doesn't. Okay, no such relationship exists. We are reviewing this misuse of our trademark. Okay, okay. So he was just making a joke. Okay, then I can sort of allow it. But I actually thought that he was just trying to make money off of it. So yeah, they're asking, "Hey, NordVPN, do you actually pay this shit stain to mock dead children for political points seriously?" Glowtome, this tweet falsely suggests a sponsorship with us. No such relationship exists. We are reviewing this misuse of our trademark. So yeah, but I'm not even angry about any of this. It's just like take note. This is the kind of people these people are like. They like the Sam Hyde quote goes that these people want you dead, your children raped, and they think it's funny. Well, this time they want your children dead, and maybe it's, but yeah, same, same. So this is the kind of people there are exist in the world, and you should be aware of it. But anyways, then we go to Mountain Blade Warband. Valve cooperates in banning Steam mod for depicting historical revisionism. So there was some mod depicting for Mountain Blade Warband, which is like a medieval um, mass combat simulator game. But somebody made like a modern mod for it, Guangzhou Running Man, and it's related to the Guangzhou democratization movement that apparently was something in the 80s that there was a bunch of students protesting and the military, I guess, shot a bunch of them. And what I heard about this mod is that this is takes a different view of the event, that it depicts the students as the bad guys and that the soldiers were supposedly um, they were on the right side of history. That's what I heard, and so that's why the Korean government doesn't like it. But I still think it's bullshit. Like even if it does take some liberties, possibly in the historical accuracy, but it's a freaking mod. I don't think it should be banned. But hey, I understand, like, Valve isn't gonna just tell the South Korean government to go screw itself or something like this. But this is still unfortunate censorship, and I don't like censorship. Like, bunch of these games like Warband is all about killing people. Why is it that worse? Like if you're shooting students. And also, I want to make a comment on Mountain Blade because I did, like, back in the day. It was like around 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, when I actually when Mountain Blade was in early access, and it wasn't even called early access. Like I just, I paid for it so I could get the when it was still in development because I loved the game. But like, and I was supposed to have the game when it's finished completely. But I don't think the original version of Mountain Blade was truly finished. Like it felt like some like the siege mechanics, they felt very unfinished to me. So I felt like I was screwed. And then they made Mountain Blade Warband, and I don't know how many sequels. It's sort of like, come on, they should have made the same, the original Mountain Blade and Warband, the same game. So that's why I'm pissed at them. But it was a great game back in the day. But anyway, let's go to other stuff. So Death Stranding 2 desperately needed content warnings. Not having them defeats the purpose of the game story. So yeah, content warnings have become, if not standard, then at least more common in entertainment media over the last decade. Films and video games are dealing with sensitive topics out of small messages alerting viewers and players they might encounter something troubling. Too highly sensitive topics that would fit the bill are okay. It doesn't say here. It's cut off. Whatever. But yeah, this guy points out, here's your goddamn content warning. So mature 17 plus. Yeah, exactly. Like you shouldn't, like, if you're really worried about getting triggered by something, you could have websites. Like if you're triggered by, I don't know, the idea of somebody losing a finger, for example, like you should have a website of like people who have finger losing phobia or something, whatever it is that is triggering in this game. Because like no, most normal people, they just like, okay, it has probably violence and stuff like that, and sad things happening. But of course, it's Polygon, it's contemporary games journalism, so what do you expect? And of course, they just need something to gain attention. And I guess it's a good article in the sense that at least I'm talking about it. So it's so stupid that people want to talk about it. And okay, Capcom now may sue you or contact the police for insulting them online. So regarding our response to customer harassment, slander. It's like a song. Slander, do do do. We take customer opinions and requests seriously as valuable voices are essential for improving our products, services, blah blah blah. So on the other hand, customer support and review posting sites and SNS. What is SNS? Social needs. So I don't know. Game sales sites. Slander, deny. What is slander? Denial of character. Deny you have no character. Right. So anyway, this stuff to our officers and employees by naming individuals or evoking specific individuals acts such as threats of harm, threats of obstruction of business, harassment have been confirmed by in some cases. Such acts may harm the environment in which our executives, employees, and our company work with peace of mind. Like, of course, like, yeah, sure, I can see the issue. Like, if you say, like, hey, Bob Johnson working for you, if you, yeah, if you threaten them, sure, I can see the issue, but I don't know, it's just. But yeah, anyways, further in the event of malicious case, we may contact police or lawyer and take action. Uh, But slander, well, I don't know. If you, let's say they make a game that's a buggy mess, and then you call their customer service like, "Hey, your fucking company is hires incompetent tossers who don't know what they're doing and just I don't know, they're eating camel ass instead of programming the games." And it's like, oh my god, we did slander. We're gonna sue you. Is that how it works? Because like you should, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. How about just making good games and people don't want to complain? Hey, oh no, I don't want to show that word. But yeah, I do think I wouldn't oppose anybody insulting Capcom employees. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna insult. Capcom is run by a bunch of um, British cigarettes with thin skin. Anyways, Nintendo Switch 2 units allegedly overheating. Users report freezing and crashes while playing Cyberpunk 2077 and less power hungry games. So yeah, it seems like every week I'm reporting something that Switch 2 is just technically the hardware seems to be crap. Like it seems to be, you know, not worth the money. It's like $500 or whatever. Almost feel bad for the people who bought this piece of shit. Almost. And here it says Nintendo remains hostile to customers by locking down the USB-C port, making it unusable for non-Nintendo devices. The U in USB isn't always universal, but typically connecting a USB-C to an HDMI adapter dock or hub to a USB-C laptop, tablet, or handheld supporting video output displays the screen on a TV. However, the Nintendo Switch 2 doesn't allow this. When connected to a third-party dock or hub, they refuse to negotiate power or after receiving power abruptly stops communication. The Switch 2 then uses proprietary code only Nintendo can decode. Oops. So I wonder if you have like a third party controller because I do have a Switch, like the original Switch. I didn't pay anything for it. I got it as a gift back in the day. But anyway, I have some also third party controllers for it, and they work. What I used. I haven't used them much, but I tried that they at least work. So if they don't work and all these other custom hubs and stuff, if they don't work, it's like, come on, man. Like, if you have a good product, you don't have to play around with it. Like, people will give you money even if they spend some money on non-official um, hardware as well on the side. But still, if you do a good console with good games and a generally good thing, yeah, they might buy some third-party crap as well, but they will also buy official stuff, giving money to Nintendo. But clearly, they're they they probably executed most of their good employees, replaced them with, I don't know, transgender walruses or something, and now they're just doing shit like this. Disgusting. Anyways, and then there's this. So yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet remove long-standing female empowerment feature. This article praises the game for inclusive. Did I report this last week already? I don't remember. Maybe I did. This article praises the game for inclusivity by replacing boy-girl selection with a look-based option, but criticizes the removal of skirts, which was due to change. But wait, is this progressive? Like if the so if you look like a girl, like these look like girls, but why can't you have a man who looks like this? That's so hateful. And so are they really removing skirts? Why do they hate skirts? And why can't boys wear skirts? Come on, man. I don't know. So nonsense. Like just this mm, contemporary notion that taking things away makes things better. Like it's more inclusive that you limit options, or like it's better when you. I don't know. But anyways, and then Perfect Dark. This was apparently they were gonna make a remake of Perfect Dark, the classic Nintendo 64 game, but apparently it's been cancelled. And this is an article from last year. So Perfect Dark level designer says gamers were a mistake, attacked them as racist pigs for opposing race swaps. But yeah, now it's apparently been cancelled. So yeah, good riddance indeed. And yeah, this is of course the character, and I do believe the original protagonist was an attractive female. But this is okay. This isn't like hideous, but it's not that attractive. Yeah, I didn't have a Nintendo 64 back in the day. I only played it at a friend's place once or twice. It was okay, but the problem with this, like we played multiplayer. Well, but actually, yeah, it had the option that it wasn't just PvP. There was also like I think there was a cooperative mode that you could fight against bots. That was actually pretty nice because like the I do recall playing also the Golden Eye on Nintendo 64 at the friend's place, and he would of course. The guy who owned the game, he of course was the best, and knowing how to play the game, and he would also take the short guy, whatever his name was, that was hardest to hit, and he would of course kick our asses. So that's the problem with many PvP games like that, especially back in the day. But that's besides the point. So yeah, Arcane Studios, a founder of Arcane Studios says, I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade, impact sales. Yeah, so I guess Game Pass on the Xbox is like, you pay $10 a month and then you get to play a bunch of games. And I don't have an Xbox, and I don't know, like, can you get it on PC? Like, maybe you can, but I don't really care enough to find out, because yeah, like if you're like a kid or a teenager who has like only 20-30 bucks to use per month, sure, I can understand that a game pass like that might make sense. But I don't think an adult, even like a poor one like me, is still not that expensive to buy games on sale or in bundles, or just get them for free off the back of a truck or something. So yeah, and I like the idea of owning games, even though like technically on Steam you don't own your games, you own the license, but it's still closer to owning than this subscription stuff. I hate this subscription crap, because then it's like, okay, I paid for the subscription, then I feel obligated to play as much as I can each month, and that sucks. Anyways, but there's sad news here that so the voice actress from Anya and Frieren, Anya of course from Spy X Family, and Frieren from Frieren's Journey's End, is that the whole name of the anime? So anyway, she is in poor health. So Atsumi Tanezaki, She is limiting her work and is, yeah, so don't know why she's sick. But I didn't know she's the voice for both of these characters. But if she is, like, it is genuinely bad news just for the anime, because these two anime are some of the best anime in the past few years. Like, there's probably some others I'm forgetting right now. Like, I think, Solo Leveling, it was pretty good too, even though it's probably not cool to like it, but I still thought it was pretty good. But anyways, and Dan 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 was pretty good. Even though they were popular, but they were quite good still. Anyways, let's see what other news there's. I hope she gets well soon, or at least eventually. If not soon, eventually. And okay, let's go to Anthem. So Anthem is gonna shut down its servers in January 2026. So in 6 months, it's gonna shut down. So it's an online-only title, and so it's gonna become unplayable. So it's dead. So yeah, it's a game that people actually had to pay. Like, it wasn't free to play, and I do think it was had microtransactions. So of course it was like a crappy game. So supposedly like a flop. So it's not like a big loss, but still, it is sad if nobody can play the game in like 10 years or something for whatever historical purposes. Like, there are all sorts of, YouTube channels of people making videos of all the RPGs on the Sega Saturn or Dreamcast or whatever. So, all the mech games ever or something. Somebody would like to make a video and then they cannot play Anthem because it's just dead. That's sad. So that's why Scott Ross is the saint of gaming, who's behind Stop Killing Games. So yeah, EA shutting down Anthem servers. Yeah, but yeah, this should be illegal. They are stealing your money if you paid for it. You bought the game, and then they come and take it away, basically. Just imagine if it was in the 90s, you buy a fucking Nintendo game or a PlayStation game, you have the cartridge or the CD, and then they just, come to your home and, hey, give it to me, and then they break it. That's basically how it works. So, yeah, and so Stop Killing Games, let's go here then, is making so much noise that Video Games Europe, a group of lobbyists made up of Embracer, EA, Activision, and all the worst in gaming are here to say you don't know what you're asking for. They're scared, keep them that way. So yeah. So this is the statement. Video Games Europe. We appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but it does happen. The industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. So it says nothing, like, just talking. I think this was written before the Anthem news came out, but of course, pretty much, I'm pretty sure EA knew about it beforehand. So, so yeah, how is it like? If let's say somebody actually, there are probably still people who like Anthem and play it, and now they cannot. They only have 6 months to play it, and if they, okay, why can't they just make some, allow people to run their own servers afterwards? That's how it should be. That's how it used to be. Like, back in my day, you didn't have these corporate servers. You'd have to run the server yourself. And clearly things were better back then, since you could do it whenever you want. And yeah, it's the same statement, but Sid Alpha says corporate games industry that doesn't want you owning your own games and who would happily kill a game to force people to buy the next iteration tells gamers that there's nothing wrong with killing games with no recourse or no option for offline mode, P2P or private servers. Yeah, you know, I just want to see the games industry crash. I've been waiting for it for over 15 years now, and hopefully this is another step towards that, because I hate these AAA companies, most of them at least. So yeah, speaking of AAA companies I hate, so Companies Against the Stop Killing Games initiative. So yeah, there's EA, Bandai Namco, Activision, Epic Games, Embracer Group, Netflix. What the fuck is Netflix doing? Do they make games? Riot Games, Sega, Nintendo, Square Enix. I guess it should be like, I'm not saying I'm gonna Sony Interactive, whatever, Ubisoft. I'm not saying I'm definitely gonna boycott all of these companies, but certainly my incentive to give any money to these companies is gonna go down. But like, yeah, it's conspicuously absent are Valve and like, GOG, stuff like that, or CD Project Red, which is, part of GOG or something. Yeah, so these are all of these companies. The world would be a better place if all of these companies went down under, keel, keelhaul them or something. Uh, so Europe's largest video game lobby spoke against Stop Killing Games, saying it make game dev too expensive. The lobby's board has members on EA, blah blah blah. Okay. So anti-Stop Killing Games lobby speaks out against SKG campaign. The lobby is run by people from EA, Ubisoft, Activision. Holy smoke, this is the unholy trinity of gaming right here trying to stop the movement. Yeah, like, and Harmful Opinions, who is also alive right now, he also said basically, I think he's likened them to Satan, these game companies, which, isn't too inaccurate. And yeah, they want you living in a pod, playing their shitty game slop without owning anything. Uh, and okay, this is talking about the Pirate Software stuff, who is the nemesis of Stop Killing Games. So basically, the company Off Brand Games is owned by Ludwig, who is a streamer. I know I've seen like some SAS, what's that game? Among Us streams with, like, Hafu and stuff. Seen him in those. I didn't know he owns this company. And then Pirates of the. So they claim that the off-brand games are getting review bombed on Steam, but apparently it is a lie. So they're basically just trying to get attention or victim points, pity points, something like that. So yeah, I'm not saying you should go um, uh, was a review bomb them, especially because, yeah, then you're gonna prove them right, so you shouldn't do it. Generally speaking, I'm not particularly against it. Like some YouTubers and stuff are like, oh no, that's the worst thing, don't never review bombs. Like, whatever, it's not breaking the law. I don't know if it's like effective or anything, but like, if you wanna leave a negative review on Steam for whatever reason, I think you're entitled to it. Maybe it's a bad reason, maybe it's a good reason, whatever. So yeah, and this is, so yeah, they're claiming that game dev too expensive, and then Stop Killing Games would make development too expensive. Meanwhile, EA Battlefield 6 reportedly has a massive budget of over 400 million. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can make good games much cheaper, or like successful, monetarily successful games. But I guess they feel obligated. They have to use all the latest hardware and physics models and ray tracing and all that stuff that most people probably don't give a fuck about. Maybe they, I don't know, the military industrial complex says that you have to use them. You have to be, creating, like, we want to create the real matrix, so we have to make the physics more and more, believable. And once we reach the point, then we can actually plug in everybody to the matrix, and then they cannot tell the difference between the matrix and real world. Maybe that's why they want to, perfect these, realistic graphics that don't really fucking matter, except, some games, for sure. With some games it does matter that it's, realistic graphics, but generally speaking, no, it just has to look good, and it can be stylistic and very unrealistic. And then there's Ubisoft. Like, if you thought you hated Ubisoft enough, no, you're wrong. You don't. So So if Ubisoft terminates the, well, let's just see what it says. The EULA is effective from the earlier of the date you purchase, download, or use the product until terminated according to its terms. You and Ubisoft and its licensors may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason. Termination by Ubisoft will be effective upon notice or you blah blah blah. Okay, okay. But anyways, if you terminate this EULA, upon termination for any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. So it's like you have a CD or a DVD of a Ubisoft product and then you have to go destroy it. What the fuck? This is just insane. How about, I don't know, go destroy Ubisoft as the company? Like, I do hope, let's call EU and get them to ban Ubisoft. I don't like EU, but like if they ban Ubisoft from existence, I'd be happy. Here, Notch is shitting on Notch, the creator of Minecraft, is shitting on pirate software. Hey guys, just got back to gaming after a brief break. Wait, why is there a nepo baby doubling down over here? And then some guy says, sometime Minecraft creator Notch has made fun of pirate software for the streamer's ridiculous stance against the Stop Killing Games initiative. And then Notch says, just verifying that yes, that is what I was talking about. If buying a game is not purchased and pirating them is not theft. Yes, well, pirating is not theft. It's different. You can argue all you want that piracy is immoral or illegal or whatever, but it's not theft because theft takes away the product. If I steal your car or your wallet, you lose your car or your wallet. But if I copy the game on your hard drive, you don't lose anything. So it's different. But anyways, that's the last story of the week. And of course, the main story is the non-existent Epstein list. So just remember, I've been saying for probably months now that the um, the the failure of certain political figures and stuff to call out the Epstein scandal and Epstein's connections and stuff, it implicates them, and even more so now that the whole Trump administration is implicated, that they are covering up for Epstein's crimes, and presumably they are some prominent members of Trump administration were on the list or are on the list, because that's there's no other way around it in my opinion. But with that, I'm Adventure Argonaut and I thank you for watching. Bye bye.